Oh, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. How are you? I'm in my hotel room right now. I've already done a video today. I didn't have time to do items of interest, but for Pete's sakes, I wrote it down and I'm gonna do it. I don't want to waste all that time writing it all down and then not doing it. And tomorrow it won't be any good because it's only good for today, the 21st. 2/21/21. How do you like that? 2/21/21. So it's evening now. It's whatever time it is. It's dark out, so it must be after 12 o'clock in the afternoon. That's for sure. I'm in my room at the residence by Marriott. The water's been turned on in my rented room, and I'll be going back there tomorrow. So let's get right down to it. This won't take long. I'll be able to sleep tonight because I did the items of interest for February 21st, 2021. These are not in order, by the way, so you'll have to pay quite close attention. In 1804, the first steam locomotive was premiered by Penny Y. Darren Ironworks in Wales. So the first locomotive, steam locomotive, was invented and tested and run and showed to everybody in Wales at the Penny Y. Darren Ironworks in Wales. So I love trains. I know you do too. And 1804. Can you remember where you were in 1804? You weren't even a thought in your father's eyes and your grandfather's eyes. Anyway, or whatever. 1878, the first phone book was produced. The first phone book was produced in New Haven, Connecticut. Does anybody even know? Anybody in Connecticut? I don't know anybody who lives in Connecticut. Anyway, 1878, the first phone book. Holy cow. Now you can't find a phone book. Everything's in the iPhone. You know, nobody knows anybody's number by heart. It's all in the iPhone. You could be brain dead and you can still call your friends. 1842, the first sewing machine was given a U.S. patent by John Greenenough. Greenoughh. So this guy must have just loved to sew. I mean, one of those rare guys who just loves to sew. And he said, how can I sew more stuff? How can I sew more things? How can I make more shirts and pants and underwear? How can I make more drapes? And when are we going to get the opera in town? Anyway, John Greenenough, the first patent for in the U.S. in 1842 for a sewing machine. In 1995, I told you these were not in order. Do you remember this guy? His name was Steve Fawcett. Steve Fawcett, not Steve Foreskin. Fawcett. This is the first gentleman to fly solo by himself. Solo means by yourself in a balloon across the Pacific. A gutsy move. I don't know how bad his marriage was that he had to say, I'm getting in a balloon and I'm getting the hell out of here. Anyway, our hats are off to Steve Fawcett for going solo in a balloon across the Pacific. I guess he left China and wound up landing in Canada someplace. In 1947, what is this one? Oh, this is the instant camera. Edward Land is the gentleman's name. In 1947 in New York, he demonstrates the first instant camera, or Polaroid. You remember the Polaroid, don't you? You could take it was a camera, you held it, you could take a photograph, mostly of dirty pictures, and you'd get the results right away. So a very, very seductive, very dicey piece of equipment that was used for very private, most of the time, private photographs. Edward Land demonstrates the first instant camera And he did that to the Optical Society of America in New York City. I bet they had some good food after that demonstration. I bet they had a banquet and they all went in the other room and they smoked and they told dirty jokes and they made fun of things you couldn't, that a lot, they just said whatever they wanted to say back in 1947, I guess. It must have been a wild party after the demonstration of the first Polaroid camera. So our hats are off to Edward Land. 1925, the New Yorker publishes its first issue, a very, very, very controversial magazine for the covers that they demonstrate or show. They demonstrated a Barack Obama cover once that was very, very in bad taste, very, very below the belt. That was no way to portray the President of the United States, in my opinion. I mean, but the New Yorker is a famous magazine. It goes all over the world to people who are interested in that magazine, and the articles go on forever and ever and ever. You really need to be a fast reader or have a lot of time to read the articles in the New Yorker. That's been my experience. And 1925. In 1848, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, the Communist Manifesto was published. The Communist Manifesto was published. Haven't read it. Don't know that much about it to talk about it. I know it's another form of government. I know all forms of government are relative. Everybody says this is bad, that's bad, it's that bad. Well, if you live in that country and that's the people who are running the show, you still get to shop and still get married and have kids and have fun. Don't get too deep into the all governments. I don't want to get into it. I don't have time. You know what I'm talking about, okay? I'm not going to get into it right now. 1948, Nascar. NASCAR is incorporated. And what that means, when you figure out you're making a lot of money, you need to incorporate. You need to find ways not to pay taxes or pay a little tax. You got to get out of that regular tax. You got to get incorporated. That's right, incorporated. It's just another big word for seeing how little tax you can pay. And so 1948, NASCAR is incorporated. And what that stands for, if you don't already know, is the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. And it's very, very, very interesting. Some people think it's just cars going around in a circle. It is cars going around in a circle, but they've got math. They've got tire pressures. They've got tire wear. They've got fuel gauges and fuel times. They've got to time everything. They've got devices to keep the lift down. There's so much that's gone into it. It's just not cars going around. If you think it's just cars going around in a circle, then it's just cars going around in a circle. But like anything else in life, and the sophistication that electronics and technology has introduced, everything is down to a science. A science. 1885. This is an old one. 1885. Do you know where you were in 1885? The Washington Monument is dedicated. The Washington Monument is dedicated in 1885, if you can believe that. And the last one, this one is about Watergate, and I don't have a date down here. Maybe it was 1975. I'll say 1975. I failed to put the date down, but John Mitchell, H.R. Helderman, and John Elkelman were sent to prison for their role in the Watergate break-in. A lot of you people are watching this video right now don't know what Watergate is or who those three people are. But in the days past, when people, no matter who they were, did something wrong, they went to prison. Today in America, you can just about get away with anything you want to get away and you won't go to prison. But if you steal a Milky Way bar at a 7-Eleven, you'll do 10 years. You'll do 10 years. But if you're a white-collar criminal, you will do no time. And if you do do sometime, it'll be at a special prison just for rich people, special people, connected people. And it'll have no gates and no bars, and you'll play golf and you'll get good meals. You'll probably have your own room. But if you're a regular person and you do something wrong, you go to state prison with Bubba. So be careful. Learn, get an education if you're going to be a criminal, or don't do anything wrong. So that's it. Those are the items that happened today, the items of interest today. I'm sorry, I don't really like doing 2 videos in one day, but I'm going to do it. I did it. I took the time to write them. I'm going to say them. Hopefully, if some of you people enjoyed the items of interest for today, and I'm glad I did it. So now I can relax, and I hope you enjoyed this portion, and I hope you enjoyed this YouTube presentation, Brian Holtzman. Okay, thank you very much, and I'll see you on the back end, or the front end, or the side end, or whatever end you want to see. I'm going to shut the camera off now. I'm going behind the camera, and I'm going to shut it off. Oh, I forgot to tell you. This is the main shut-off valve for the water here in Austin, Texas. I have to get up tomorrow about 8 o'clock, and I have to turn this valve, and that will turn on all the water to the state of Texas. That's right. I've got a special room, and that's the valve I'm going to turn, and we're going to have water again. So take a good look at that valve. That is a big valve, and that is going to get turned on as soon as I can shut this camera off, and